Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live podcast. Today, we are thrilled to welcome one of YouTube's, let's call him a social media sensation. He's captured the heart of many Gen A's and Gen C's. He has a massive followership, particularly on YouTube and TikTok now. Stevie knows his audience very well. He knows how to engage with them, how to connect with them, and how to continue inspiring them. Stevie, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me. We're actually making history right now because this is the first ever podcast that I've done.
Oh.
So thank you for having me, basically.
Yeah, awesome. But that's not all. We're also, I'm going to be co-hosting this with my very good friend, Bengu, who's no stranger to YouTube. She's actually worked there for a number of years, but now she's a co-founder of Buzz My Videos, which is an amazing piece of technology that helps brands and product producers to monetize and just make the most out of their YouTube channels, right? Is that a good way to put it?
That's a great way of summarizing. Hi, everyone. I'm the co-founder of Buzz My Videos, and we focus on all things YouTube and YouTube growth for brands and media companies. And it's always great to sit down and learn from successful YouTubers. So thanks, Stevie.
Yeah.
My absolute pleasure.
Awesome. I'm Cesar Christoforidis. I'm representing Hyportata today, one of the world's leading end-to-end creator economies platforms used by many organizations from Fortune 500 right down to the long tail. So why don't we get started, Stevie? Because I think we're all very anxious to know the beginning. So how long has it been?
So I've been making content now for 9 years, since 2016. I was delivering pizzas whilst making content. Didn't make a penny from content for the first 4 years. And I always wanted my content to do two things. One, entertain people. And hopefully I do that. And secondly, I always wanted my content to help young people. My first ever job at 18 was working in a school where I created Stevie Knows. And I didn't think back then it was going to turn into my job all these years later, but it has. Very grateful for it. And yeah, I've just always tried to keep my content as relatable as possible. And I remember saying to my mom once, I said, "Mom, how would you describe my content?" And she said, "Stevie, you tell the truth, but in a funny way." Yeah. And I remember saying, "Mom, I can't beat that." Like, genuinely, that's the best description that I could even come up with. So yeah, that's basically what I try and do.
That's fantastic. So it sounds like you've had a lot of support even from the start when it was just like a little seed.
100%. I mean, I always. It's a great point, Cesar, and I'll tell you why. Because I say I started in 2016, and I always remember, bless him, my late dad saying, "Stevie, you didn't start in 2016. You started back in school because you created Stevie Knows back then. The sort of person you are, Stevie Knows is me, probably amplified a little bit." But he goes, you were kind of planting seeds back in school with your fellow classmates and the people you grew up with. And that's why when I first started in 2016, the reason I was able to kind of get going probably a little bit faster than others was because I would say, "Hey, Cesar, can you share my video?" Or, "Hey, X, Y, and Z, can you share my video?" And I was very grateful for that because obviously back then they were the only people watching my content, no one else. That was before the days of now where I'm very lucky that other people obviously watch. So yeah, it's quite cool to look back sometimes like that.
I have a question. I always say that YouTube is kind of like a long-term play, and you should the keyword is like consistency. Like you need to make sure that it's consistent. So your 4 years is like a testament to that.
Thank you.
But then how did you keep up with that stamina? And also, what was there a breaking point like that flew the channel, that kind of like a breakthrough moment? Like
Yeah. So the consistency, spot on, Bengu, is the most important word. The amount of emails and messages that I get, like, "Stevie, what should I do with my content? What should I do?" And I'm like, you just got to stick with it. You have to carry on. Because what's the alternative? I always wanted to do this. If I don't make content, I'm not going to be doing a podcast with you guys right now. So there's that, consistency. I kept going. There was no break. In terms of like a blow-up moment, I never forget, there was a page on Facebook called Unilad, which I think was like
Oh my God, yeah, it's still going.
It's still going now.
Yeah.
Amazing. Very grateful for them. They shared my, I did a video about PE lessons, and they shared it, and it went
wow.
crazy viral. And overnight, I went from 15,000 followers on Facebook to 30,000 because they just shared my video. And I think that video, now, I don't know what it was, but I remember it got to like 30 million views, something like that. It was crazy. So yeah, Unilad, I'm very grateful to you.
Wow.
Thank you for that.
I'm sure they've created other, phenomenons like yourself.
100%, especially Facebook back then. If you think 2016, the landscape, 2016, 2017, it was Lad Bible, Unilad. There'll be others that I can't quite think of right now off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
they were the big players on the Facebook space. So they gave me a chance. But like I said, that was like a year into my content. Before that,
Yeah.
it was mainly my friends and that watching.
So it sounds like a bit like you struck gold then, right? But tell us how it really went afterwards. How many tried, or was it, walk in the park from that moment?
No, Caesar, I wish. Like I said, you get that spike, which is fantastic, but naturally it peters away and it goes away. And it's just a case of just being consistent. Like Bengu said, it's like every Sunday. This is the thing. Back then, I was only making videos once a week. And I remember thinking, God, this is really difficult. Every week I got to think of one video. Now it's every day. I post a video every single day. So those days were actually quite easy, to be fair. Yeah. But at the time, no, it was a case of, because you're still working, you're having to do your day job whilst thinking of content. So no, it wasn't kind of just a walk in the park afterwards, but it definitely gave me that lift in terms of followers.
Interesting. So your journey started on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then how did that migrate? And here we are now with like millions and millions of followership between YouTube and TikTok.
Yeah. So Facebook, the reason I loved Facebook at the time was that share button, because everyone was on Facebook. I mean, everyone is on Facebook, but maybe not so much younger people now, to be fair. It's my mum's taken over, my mum's generation has taken it over. But at the time, everyone was on Facebook. If you made a cool video, a relatable video, you could share it. It goes to their feed. So that really helped. Then I went on to Instagram, which again is obviously Facebook anyway. By Meta, they own that. Snapchat, I was using Snapchat quite a lot. And then TikTok came along. And TikTok was the one where it really kind of favoured my sort of content, short form content. And then YouTube, which I'm so grateful for, obviously, that I had 5 cracks at YouTube over the time. And I think of some of that. I never forget, I had Why Stevie, Why Not? Terrible. I had... So I had in my head Planet STV. Now, if you Planet and then STV in capitals, it's fine.
Yeah.
However, Planet STV, if you think in your head, it's Planets TV. And I was like, oh my God, what am I doing?
They're expecting something else.
That's definitely not me, Steve. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, that's not good. Then I tried like Tonight with Stevie, was like my own chat show.
Yeah.
That was rubbish. And then anyway, cut a long story short, got to Stevie Knows, and the rest is history, basically.
Oh, that's
brilliant. So if you were starting right now from scratch on YouTube or maybe on TikTok, like I understand now with YouTube's introduction to short form content, it did favor your style of content as well. If you were to compare long form to short form, you would obviously go for short form, but what would be your kind of starting strategy if you were starting from scratch? And also, I want to kind of bring this from an angle of like, if you're a brand or a media business, because you talked about shareability and short form gives you a lot of shareability, would that be a good strategy kind of like to break through?
100%. I think, I don't no pun intended, but know what you're talking about. I don't mean that because Stevie knows, but the reason I think I was able to do quite well was because I did work in a school. So I got that I wasn't a teacher, don't get me wrong, but I had a very unique perspective where obviously I'd been a student like we all have, but then I was able to cross that divide, be a member of staff. So I was like, okay, cool. When I make my content, I really understand where the kids are coming from, but I now know where the teachers are coming from. Whereas before, when you're a student, you know what it's like. You think, oh, God, get off my back, sir, get off my back, miss, etc., etc. So I was able to really tap into that. So in terms of someone else, whatever it could be football, it could be news, it could be whatever brand it might be. I think as long as you know what you're talking about, that's going to come through on the content. Be relatable. And I can't really say it better than just literally know what you're talking about. So many people ask me, they're like, Stevie, what should I make videos about? And I'm like, I can't answer that. What do you mean? What should you make content about? Like, you need to know what are you passionate about? What is your thing? And stay consistent and run with it. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
Now, Stevie's evolved like a number of characters. How many do you have right now?
Oh wow! I honestly, on the top of my head, mate, it's got to be upwards of 20. Genuinely, yeah, which is it's probably more to be honest. But yeah.
And do you think that having that portfolio of characters has allowed like more brands to contact you, allowed you to craft stories around different product services. What's the idea behind it?
Yeah. So, well, listen, there's one. I don't know if we're going to get onto this, but there's one main character that I've got, and he's called Gary.
Yeah.
The
blonde wig,
The
right?
blonde wig, exactly. The kids love him, and I'm very grateful for that. But the reason I kind of like the idea of the character is if I acted like Gary as me, you'd be like, what are you doing? Like, are you okay? Like, what's the issue? You do a character, like Mr. Bean, for example. If Rowan Atkinson started behaving like Mr. Bean, you'd be like, are you okay? What's wrong? He does a Mr. Bean, you're like, oh my God, this guy's hilarious. And it's the same with Gary. I'm able to channel all my weird and random, wonderful, whatever it might be, whatever word, and a lot worse words than that probably, through Gary, and they love it. And in terms of brands, a brand will come to me and say, hey, Stevie, we've got this new product. The cool thing about the characters is my audience trust the characters. They know the characters. They can relate to the characters. And I can do quite a nice script around it instead of me sat there going, hey, guys, come and buy this bar or this drink or whatever as me, which is fine. But I think if we can make it not too selly, make it relatable, and make it basically content that they already see on the daily, you're onto a winner. And some brands get that, some don't. And that's just the way it is, basically.
Is there a brand or a media company that you kind of see on YouTube, TikTok, anywhere else that you think, oh, they're on the right track, they've nailed this?
To be honest, Bengu, because of how much content I have to make myself, I don't actually see quite a lot. Like, the amount of times I get friends saying, hey, Stevie, did you see my post? No, I didn't. Honestly, and I'm like,
too busy, right?
Honestly, and I know it sounds so, I don't mean it to sound that way, but I was like, if you had my phone for 10 minutes, you'd have honestly, your brain would be like, oh my God, like it's
all full of DMs,
it's
is it?
chaos, mate. Emails and DMs and comments. But listen, I'm very grateful. That's the thing.
Course.
Don't get it twisted. However, some people don't understand. No, I've not seen your post because like it's so chaotic just trying to sort out my stuff, make sure it's posted at the right time, make sure the caption's right, the first comment, replying to the comments. I mean, I still do that. A lot of people don't think it's even me. They're like, have you got some automated AI? And I'm like, no, that is me sat there replying to your comments, which I think, I like to. If you can take the time to engage in my content, the least I can do. I don't mean that to sound cheesy or anything, but it's like, I was delivering pizzas once, so I'm very grateful to have this job. So to be honest, Bengal, there's not really anyone out there that I could, off the top of my head. However, if you showed me two, I'd be able to say, yes, that one I think is smashing it.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a good talent to have,
But it's enormous opportunity with your audience. I want to talk a little bit about your audience. You've been really modest, Stevie. I don't think people know how I found you, but using Hype Auditor, I wanted to understand who the top YouTubers were in the UK, but for a particular range of audience. So I put something like 13 to 30 years old, and pop, there goes Stevie Knows.
Amazing.
And it's testimony to, if you craft something that's meaningful and valuable, you'll get a response. So thank you for responding to us. We're here in front, of you. So don't be modest about it. I think, having 90% of your audience based in the UK, it's a huge tick for
Thank you,
brands
mate.
that want to work with
100%.
them, right? And the other, to get Gen A. To get Gen A, like over 30% of your audience Gen A, the rest is comprised of Gen Z, and you do have, I think, mums and dads on there as well.
And I'm very grateful for that, by the way. Very grateful for anyone that watches.
But tell us a little bit more about them, and do they give you that feedback that inspires you to create different content? Tell us a little bit.
That's very
more
kind of you, Caesar, by the way, and I really appreciate it. Because when you sent me that, I think I said to you actually before the podcast. I was like, oh, what was that thing? And you explained it, and I was like, wow. It's amazing. And like you said, obviously, we hear a lot, and Caesar, you said this, we hear a lot about obviously Gen Z, but obviously Gen Alpha, like you said, I didn't really look at it in that way personally. But one thing I've always said is you don't need to, there'll be like lots of new slang words, for example, that young people will say. That doesn't mean someone who's 47 has to start speaking like that, because it's not real. You're not being true to yourself.
Oh God, yes, cringe, isn't it?
It is a little
My son will say, "Oh, don't be cringe, Dad."
Exactly. But the thing is, you don't need to speak that way. I think in my content, which is aimed at young people, I don't say certain words or use certain phrases or slang, but they still totally get it. They can relate, because say if a lot of my stuff is based around school, school hasn't changed that much since we were all at school. It really hasn't. Listen, there's social media and now iPhones and Androids, etc., etc. But school is still school. It's still the trials and tribulations that we all went through: exams, revision, relationships, and exactly. And see that reaction you just had.
Bunking off PE.
Hey, I would never do that. PE was one of the few subjects actually I quite like, to be fair. But that reaction is why I love it, because whether you are 16 or 60, you can relate to the content because we've all been there.
Hence the reason why you do have some millennials,
exactly,
Gen X,
legends,
like me.
You see,
Yeah.
I want to just step back when you mentioned that you are taking the time to reply to all of the comments, making sure that there is that authentic kind of connection with you and with your audience, from what I understand. And that does pay off, even though it's a very tedious thing. Like at our company, I'm just going to do a shameless plug. Like we've automated most of the YouTube optimization stuff through our tool product. And I always claim that every little bit of optimization helps, from like fixing those tiny little like tags, hashtags, or replying, making sure or taking the time to reply to those comments. Is there any one kind of like key optimization or thing that works kind of magic apart from like taking the time to reply to comments, do you think?
See, that's the thing. Obviously, maybe I'm still very old school in what I do, because it is literally the what I was doing on Facebook in 2016.
Yeah.
I'm still doing on TikTok and YouTube now in 2025. YouTube, to be fair, I don't get the chance to comment as much because it kind of goes a bit too. I mean, and again, very fortunate, but I did a video the other day, and I think on TikTok it got 7,000 comments. I think on YouTube about 12,000. Obviously, I cannot sit there and reply to each one. But if it's a bit more of a quieter video, say, it is literally just me doing that. So I don't really use any kind of optimization or anything like that. Again, I don't even know if this is even the right answer. Sometimes what I'll do, if I'm looking for certain things, I might look at certain memes on the internet and think of, okay, cool, that might be able to go into a video, that relatable when you're in an exam and everyone starts discussing the questions, and then you realise you put 21, 22 and I put Jamaica. That's the joke in my video, to be fair. But that sort of thing, you think, oh, okay, cool. So, yeah, Bengu, to be fair, not other than that, I'm just a one-man band, basically.
Your content is that good. You don't need to be optimizing.
It's very kind of you, yeah.
That's incredible. So tell us about your tech stack. I love to know, what is your production movie theatre studio look like?
Yeah, it's just wonderful, just like what we're sitting in now. No, it's my flat, and I have well, to be fair, because I do this thing now called online school, so it's a series.
Oh, yeah.
So each character has their own place in my flat. So I use my phone, my mobile phone. I don't use a special camera. I have an iPhone. I film it on an app. I then put that app into my laptop on Premiere Pro, and I edit that way. It's very basic. It's very simple. Because again, it's not about, you don't need I know there are certain people that think you need to have this like high production value, and you don't. You didn't need it back then. You don't need it now. It's just like, for the 2 or 3 seconds when I'm flicking through my phone, how are you going to grab me? Not even 3 seconds nowadays, probably 2 seconds. How are you going to grab me? And if you can, I'll stay. If you can't, I'm gonna carry on swiping. So in terms of the production value, there's not much, mate. I use natural lighting. There's no special lights. I use various points of my flat for each character, and touch wood, it's always worked. So
It has worked. For the audience, I mean, you're welcome to download something from the Hype Auditor website, but you get like an average of like 1.2 million views of every single piece of content, and that is staggeringly impressive.
Do you know what it is? It is, because when you look at it just from a numbers point of view, it's very easy. Because what will happen, and it sounds so silly, but then say if a video doesn't get 1 million views, you're like, what, why? You step back, I speak to some of my friends and that, and I'm like, Stevie, mate, I'm gonna have to, because like, think about what you've just said, and then you're like, you're so right, but that's unfortunate. That's just the game that we're in. You're only looking at numbers. Sometimes you lose the fact there are people behind that.
Yeah.
And it's only when you then say go out in public, and everywhere I go now, if there's younger people, I will get recognised, and it's beautiful. They want a photo or whatever it might be. It's one of the nicest things that comes with what I do, because like I said, I'm not Taylor Swift or The Rock or anything like that. The fact they want a photo with me, little old me from a small town, is really cool.
Just in
I have a question about, like, I know the numbers are like staggering. It's amazing. So congrats. I also want to know, how does that convert into revenue? I'm not expecting you to disclose your revenue figures. That's not the point. But I want to, I'm curious. I'm just curious to know, there is standard advertising revenue, and I'm assuming YouTube is best compared to the other platforms. Plus,
yeah, very grateful.
Good.
Yes, but yeah, no, YouTube. Listen, Bengu, I'm so grateful to YouTube because YouTube was always the one I could never quite crack. And like I said, it's end of the day, we all have to live. We all have rent to pay for or bills to pay, whatever. So. No, the last year has been really good. I'm very grateful for that from YouTube. Obviously TikTok as well, but no, YouTube is number one. So yeah, thank you, YouTube.
but then, are there any other apart from the standard advertising? Obviously, there is branded integrations with influencer marketing stuff, which I think Cesar is going to go through. I also want to know: do you think there are other avenues of like launching a product, launching a membership for creators like yourself, or again, media companies or brands?
100%. So before I was able to monetize YouTube and TikTok, actually, it was mainly brand deals. That was my only money that was coming in. Worked with some amazing brands, so very grateful for that. But in terms of products, funny enough, 2 weeks ago, I launched my first ever proper big launch anyway of merch. And it's like a Gary and Empire bag. And I had no idea how it was going to go. I genuinely thought, God, what if no one buys this bag? And it sold out in 4 days.
What is
Wow.
it? Do you know what? I should have brought it, actually. It's just a drawstring bag, designed by me.
Yeah.
So the character Gary is on it in like an animated form. But why is the catchphrase that I've got, and on the back is like other catchphrases that I've made. And what I did, it's so random to people that don't understand, but I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Included with the bag, you get hand signed by me. I've just signed them all. It took me ages. A hand signed paper towel, because my featured video on YouTube is a music video, a parody of Beyonce's. It's such when you say it out loud. Oh my God, Beyonce's "Single Ladies," which is if you broke it, then you put a paper towel on it, and it became a thing. So they love that. I don't think they even want the bag; they want the paper towel, which is so funny. And also they get like I bought a load of like business cards with a QR code, which takes them to a secret YouTube video. But back to your question, Bengu, because I know I can drift off. That is another thing that it's kind of like another string to my bow, which I was a little bit nervous about. Really cool that people supported it. It sold out. I genuinely didn't think that was going to happen. But that is another way of making revenue, which is really cool.
Incredible. And that's what you call a creator-led birth product, isn't it?
100%. I mean, everything sees it on that bag, that the audience will get it. The parent might be like, what? Who? But why? Garion? They're like,
so you signed the paper towel?
And the paper towel all signed by me with a little message from the back.
That take?
So, honestly, mate, it took me, my hand at the end was just, I was doing like 100 a day, basically.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my God.
And they'll know it's legit because my handwriting is terrible. So when they're like, oh yeah, that was Stevie, to be fair.
Yeah.
But again, I appreciated them buying it. So it's the least I can do. I wasn't going to lie and say, oh yeah, it's hand signed, but it's not. Because like, that's not me, basically.
I like the fact that you also gave them exclusive content on the back of the bag.
Yeah.
Like, a secret piece of, like, it's very thought through. So congrats.
You. That was what I wanted to do, because it was one of those things, when you're asking people for money, because technically you're giving them a product, but you're asking for money. And I wanted to go above and beyond. I wanted to make sure for the price, they are like, wow, like this is more than we could have already imagined. And I like that idea as well. When I was like, what could we do that was different? And I thought that could be quite cool. So it's just basically a private video of me as my characters.
Yeah.
Talking nonsense as usual.
So now that you have immense community, very engaging, it's growing, are you kind of still open to working with brands?
Oh,
yeah,
100%. Listen, I will always be. I know I keep saying this word, but it's because if you knew the route to get to this point, it's been really difficult. Very grateful for all of the brands that I've worked with, because at a point that was the only money that was coming in, especially over the course of lockdown and things like that, and COVID and that era that we all went through. So 100%. It's just one of those things. Is I always say I try and make sure it's a brand that I genuinely am like, yeah, that's a cool brand. I like that. For example, listen, I'm not judging or anything, but I've had a lot of like vape brands come to me, and obviously I wouldn't do that because my audience is young. So listen, other people that do it, people can do whatever they want to do. But for me, I like it when I don't know, a food company or off the top of my head, I can't think off the top of my head, but a clothing brand where I'm
Sure.
like, something like that, where I'm like, I can make a really cool video based around that for my audience, and that will help them out because they'll get more views, they'll get more engagement.
And can you share with us maybe like an example of a recent one, or one that really went really well and one that went really not well?
Well, the minute you said that question, the one that always sticks out that I really enjoyed was for, and can I say the brand?
Yeah.
Was Jaffa Cakes.
Right.
And they were so cool, guys, that they said, look, Stevie, this is the brief. We trust you. Write a script for us. And I'm very, very punctual. I got it done really quickly. But they knew I understood my audience. They were like, Stevie, we'll trust you. Crack on with it. Made a really cool script based around my characters. And it was basically like a school presentation. And some of the other characters were doing other stuff. But then Gary was doing this new Jaffa Cake. Like, this new Jaffa Cake. And I can't think off the top of my head exactly, but I remember it banged. It did really well. And that was without, sometimes brands will put like a paid advertisement behind it. I don't know if the end they did end up doing that, but before that, I remember it did really well.
It didn't even need any boosting.
Didn't need any boosting. Exactly, that's the word. Didn't need any boosting, mate. And that's always one, and that's a few years ago now, but that's always one that sticks out. And another one was Squishmallows.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
made me big, like-
Yeah, I know what they are now. Yes.
They're brilliant. So not only was it a really cool job, they sent me loads of Squishmallows, and then that meant for Christmas, all the younger members of my family got Squishmallows. So it was good. It was a good deal.
Oh, that's brilliant. The other thing I think really important for our audience is, what is the right way for a brand or an agency to reach out to a creator? Because, we're seeing a lot of automated fashion, which is fair, I think, if you're looking for a certain type of creator. But when they want to engage with someone that I would say you're more of on the upper scale with your community, what's kind of like that rule book that you would share with them?
It's a great question. I mean, let's use you as an example. When you emailed me, the fact that you started off with "Hi Stevie" and not "Hi Stevie Knows" or "Hi Stevie.knows," which is my TikTok handle, and I know straight away you're not a legit thing, or out of all the countless messages I get, I'm not going to see it. Whereas yours came through, you had a really good subject. But I know it sounds so simple, but if you can just imagine the kind of sheer volume of messages that come in, you've got to kind of make it look a little bit legit. Because, we all get messages and emails that's spam, etc., etc. But, and I actually stay quite on top of everything that I do. But if you don't, you're not even going to be seen. So I think just to take a little bit of time to go, hey, Stevie, I saw this. Caesar, with what you did, the little deck you sent, and I was like, wow, I didn't even realise that. That's really cool. And then look where we are today.
Yeah,
so,
look where we are today.
Most people will be open. You might get, there might be others that are a bit whatever, but most people will be open. I think it's just be you, be honest, just the basic fundamentals of the human being, basically. And I think you'll be absolutely fine as a brand.
Now, when you are engaging on a brief, and whether it's come directly from a brand or an agency, do they ever come to you with like any performance metrics that they need, like some mechanical programmatic kind of we want earned media value to be here, we want engagement to be there? Tell us about those conversations. What are their expectations?
Yes, and I've never actually had that, to be fair. And I always think it's hard that, because at the end of the day, look, it's an ad, and the audience know it's an ad. So you've got to always take that in consideration. So it's one of the reasons why I've never done the whole, Stevie, you do a video for us, and if it gets X amount of sales on our site, we'll pay you. And I was like, no. End of the day, like, if I don't make this video for you, I can make a video for myself.
Yeah.
So I'm taking time out of my day, and I'd love to work with you. So, X, Y, and Z brand, whatever it might be, but pay me a fee. You will get that script back sometimes that same day. That's what I've done sometimes, if that's what they want. I will give you sometimes free changes in terms of video. Like, I will be, listen, I can only speak for myself.
Yeah.
I will give you 100%. So I will respect you. So please show a bit of respect for me as well as a creator. I've never had that conversation in terms of that, but because as long as you're going to allow me to make the video based around my normal content, it's going to do all right. It might not get 1 million views because it's not based around the storyline that I was doing, but it will still do okay because my audience know, that's Gary, that's Stevie, but that's Gary, that's X, Y, and Z characters, and the 20 others that are in the universe.
Brilliant.
I was also going to check, like you've mentioned that it's all about like it resonates with your audience plus with the type of content. So you don't get a script from them, but it's coming from you.
Yes.
Are there any other criteria that makes a campaign like successful on YouTube, like from a content point of view, or afterwards, like from a promotional point of view? Like, are there any things that you do plus the media company or the brand do?
So mainly the brand deals that I've done have actually been on TikTok, to be fair. And I know they've got the whole boosting thing that they can do
Yeah.
to help. So that's probably the main thing. And I totally get that because, like we said, it is an ad. So it probably will need sometimes a little bit of an extra boost depending on what level you want it to get to. But I always think, at the end of the day, the brand is working for me because they want that kind of fast track to my audience. So that's what you're getting put through it. You're getting put in front of thousands upon thousands, sometimes millions of eyeballs that you wouldn't normally get anyway. So it's a great deal straight away. I always think just little things like make sure whatever it is you're plugging. So, for example, Jaffa Cakes. I wasn't just like, "Hey guys, this is amazing Jaffa Cakes. Make sure you come up." Where it's like, okay, this is way too selly.
Yeah.
If you can still sell a product and make it based around the content that you're trying to do, and as like a nice blend. And the brief they send me, I will always try and hit that brief, base it around the sort of content that I do anyway. And 9 times out of 10, we've smashed it as a creator and a brand, to be fair. So yeah, I've worked with some really cool brands.
Yeah, I think I might have seen that. Was it like a flavor of Jaffa Cake? I think it's something that Gary made up.
Probably. Knowing Gary, it sounds about him, to be fair. But there's so many little things you can do. So I think what you're referencing, it was, never forget one. I wasn't actually with a brand, but there was a joke I wrote about Head and Shoulders, the shampoo.
Oh, yes.
And Gary was like, "Oh, isn't that called Knees and Toes?" Because I thought, what's the opposite of Head and Shoulders? Then I Googled it, and actually I think as a joke or something, years ago, they actually brought out, and I didn't realise that. And I was like, wow, okay. But that was just me. If that was a brand deal, again, that's what I'm talking about. That straight away, that will make the people laugh and go, okay, that was quite funny, to be fair. Let me now watch the rest of this brand video. Okay, Head and Shoulders. The next time I go shopping, I might buy their shampoo.
Yeah, sometimes Steve is a bit too kind. On the way here, I was watching some of your shots, and one of them that came up was about revision. And, I think it was one of your characters that literally got interrupted by another character. And then he goes, "Do you want to go for McFlurry?" And I go, "Yeah." And then he just chucks his books away.
Yes, I know.
I was thinking, wow, I wonder how much McDonald's paid you for that.
So the McFlurry, funny. The McFlurry gag is actually, I always loved McFlurries growing up. And it became a thing. So, for example, with my content, if you're a Stevie Knows fan, super fan, McFlurry, my celeb crush is Zendaya, and my hero is The Rock. So now, any news story involving McFlurry, Zendaya, The Rock, you better believe it gets sent to my DMs. And I'm like, oh man, what have I created here? So actually, they should be paying me for it. But no, that was just a random gag. Yeah, they got a lot of free publicity out of me, McFlurry. Yeah.
That's cool.
I was also wondering, like, maybe it might be off topic, but I understand for your content strategy is so strong, and this is what we say as well. Content is like king. Yeah. So you need to have good content strategy, which you clearly have. And then shorts kind of helped you grow quite quickly. Yeah. And a collaboration, not necessarily a planned one, but an unplanned one with Unilad. Yes. Kicked it off. What would be that one feature on YouTube or any other platform right now, like your dream feature that's going to just like boost your presence? It could be they are introducing some like AI dubbing, which your content is comedy. I'm not sure if it's going to translate in other cultures, like, but is there something that you're like, oh, you know what? I could just like 10x my success on any platform if there was this?
Do you know what, Benga? That's a really good question. I never actually thought of that. If there was one, the minute you were talking, the one that pops into my head would be, because I get it, I do speak, and I apologise if today I speak quite fast. And obviously, if you don't speak English, you're not going to understand Gary or whatever. However, what is quite cool, if there was a feature where those videos could be translated into different languages, because one thing that is universal is school. So there will be a Gary in, okay, not obviously not America because they speak English, but you know what I mean. In other countries, say if it was Germany or Spain or whatever, there'll be a Spanish Gary out there. And,
definitely.
There you go. So and that would be really cool. And I remember watching a video where Mr. Beast does that. and I'm not comparing myself to Mr. Beast, oh my God, but I think he translated all his videos into different languages, and that skyrocketed him even more. So if there was a feature like that,
YouTube has it.
they
There's
do have that now.
auto dubbing. You can get it enabled. Like it's just going to auto dub your content
Wow.
in other languages. Yes, it is available. But I think
Can you imagine?
yeah.
well, yeah,
Suddenly you get
No, it would
all these
increase your
fans.
reach everywhere. So
Well, but it is
100%.
funny. I do every Sunday. I do a YouTube live, and obviously predominantly the audience is from the UK. But it's amazing the amount of people that are obviously from English-speaking countries. Don't get me wrong, Australia, America, etc. But you will get countless from say Germany or it's. Dubai, I had quite a few in Dubai, which I thought was quite cool. Again, they probably are English speaking, but there's still a lot of other countries where it was like Portugal, etc., etc. And you think, wow, like, what must that be like? This whole the whole thing that I create, and how does that resonate in their culture, which I think is so cool. Because all these different catchphrases, you know, like, there's this one I have, you know, but why? And I always think, oh, imagine that in Spanish or French or Portuguese or whatever language it might be. But no, Benga, that would be really cool. That's probably the one where I'm like, yeah, that could take it to a different level.
I'll send you the link. You should enable it on your
I
channel.
appreciate that. That's really cool.
Yeah. So look, next year I think it'll be your 10th year, right, as a creator.
Yes. Yeah. Blimey. Wow. Yeah.
So now looking forward to the next decade, how does Stevie No evolve?
It's a great question. There's certain things that are in my head that I would like to do. One is to crack long form. It's when the one I have done it in the past and actually did really well. But it was more of a me thing. I didn't massively enjoy doing it, so I'd have to work out the kind of mechanics of how that would work. I would love to do something. I've actually thought of. I know everyone and their dog does a podcast now. However, I have actually thought about doing my own podcast for a while, mainly because Gary and things like that are brilliant. But I would love to do something where it's me as me, even though it is me amplified.
Yes.
But does that make sense? Where I could talk like the way we're talking now?
Yeah.
I think conversations like this are so cool and so important.
We could make that happen. We
Oh.
just need a slightly bigger studio.
Honestly, mate, like I said, because it'd be great to get out of the flat, basically. Do you know what I mean? Oh my God, I'm sick of that place. But something like that is what I was. I think that is merch was brilliant. Oh my God. The next step, I think, would be now to have a kind of. I've been doing it with my lives on a Sunday, but it's mainly just Q&As, and they just come. I'll be honest, there's not really. I love that they come and watch me, but I'll be honest, I'm not doing anything special. I'm really not. So I'd love to do something like this, where, for example, like you used to say, if I was on YouTube at home now, I'd be watching this on my telly. This would be so fascinating. If I was starting content now. Listen to
you.
Yeah.
With your hardship.
Like, it would be amazing. Like, even the questions that you've asked would be like, yes, that's what I want to know the answer of. And that's why I've always tried to do, like, my thing is I created this at the school I worked at, the Pupils Champion. That was like my thing. And it was taken from The Rock, who was the People's Champion. So I changed it to the Pupils Champion.
Yeah.
And that was just me talking as me. And I talked about whether it was bullying or revision or exams, things that young people go through. And that goes back to my original like ethos or whatever the word is, where it's like, yeah, you want to entertain, but I want to help young people as well. Listen, some of the messages I get, they break my heart because it's like, I'm just little old me, and I'm not going to say it now, but there's certain things they say, you think, wow. And it's beautiful, it's sad, it's incredible, all the words that you could imagine.
Yeah.
Just from me sitting in my flat making videos.
Well, I think the content that you're creating, love it or loathe it, I mean, it is preparing people for what's up ahead, right? I mean, I used to have to watch Grange Hill for that. It's like, oh, mum, are they really going to put my head down the toilet? That sort of thing. But
yes.
But you're giving them this window into, the possibilities of what could happen, like when they're coming into adolescence. So you talked about, fine, these formats, how you're going to evolve, but how are you going to evolve Stevie Knows? Is that ever sort of cropped up in your planning for the future?
Always in my subconscious. It's always there. And to be honest, guys, honestly, the amount of conversations I've had with friends over the years where I'm like, mate, I don't know what to make. I don't know what to do. And we'll sit there. And there's a friend of mine I'm thinking of right now. He's got a big whiteboard in his room, and we'll sit there and we'll spitballing ideas. And it was actually a conversation I had with my uncle, right? Actually, before I say that, let me just say this. There was someone, you speak to certain people in the industry and you think they know what they're talking about. And there'll be certain people that are, oh, Steve, you need to move away from the school stuff. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, you just do anything but not school. And you sit there and you think, okay, maybe they're right. And I was making content and it's doing rubbish. It's not doing very well. I wasn't enjoying it. And I spoke to my uncle, and he's like, Steve, look, I have no idea about your world like at all, but why don't you enjoy making content like PG content? You like being that guy, wholesome for young people. Why don't you double down on that? And it sounds so simple. And I'm like, it was a real like light bulb moment. Never forget, we were sat in my car, and I was like, do you know what, Chris? His name's Chris. He's great people. And I was like, maybe you're right. Cut a long story short, Ben goes, we talked about what happened on YouTube the last year.
Yeah.
But what I always wanted was a series. I always wanted something that was like part 1, part 2, part 3. And now I've got online school. And I think yesterday I posted part 152.
Wow.
So, which is mental. It's crazy. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
And like you say, I think it's always going to be there. It's never going to change. It's quite rigid.
Yeah.
And everybody's always going to have to go through that.
Spot on.
Tough.
This is the thing, and it's something we can all relate to. Listen, I'm not saying I can always play the characters forever for obvious reasons, but what's so cool about it, there's a way of we could turn it into an animated series and it becomes a thing where you do voiceovers or whatever. But like I said, with the podcast, there's all longer form stuff. There's so much we can still do that I'm not doing. So there'll always be room, but I'll still be Caesar. I'll still be sat there like, oh, what do I do? Kind of thing. But for 9 years, I've made it work. So yeah.
No, we're looking.
Hopefully, it'll be all
forward to
right.
it.
I love it. I love the fact that you said like or that advice that you got, double down on what
Thank you.
works.
Yeah.
Sometimes we also suggest channel owners to just go to their top videos, top most popular videos, and to analyze like a pattern, what's going on there, why is this working, and to double down on that. So I think that just like validates what you were saying. Obviously, you doubled down on something authentic that was
Yes.
working for your audience, but if it's already successful, just like create another one of that, like, or 10 of them, like, or a series.
And Bengi, I know it sounds so simple, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, when you say it out loud, and it was when my uncle said it, and I'm like, yeah, and like Bengi, like you said, you at YouTube say double down on it, and it's like, yeah, obviously, but you think, but then you hear someone say,
Yeah.
no, you need to move away from that. And I think we've all had advice in life, all of us, whatever field we're in, some good, some bad, and you start thinking, oh, maybe they're right, they're more experienced than me, they know.
But at least you tried it.
I gave it a go.
Right.
Exactly. I gave it a go. I didn't enjoy it. Didn't even perform that well. And then it was that sort of thing. I was like, well, what, Stevie, I say to people all the time when they ask me, what sort of content should I make? Or what do you want to make? And if you can't answer that question, maybe you shouldn't make content just yet. Have a real think about what is it you want to make, and then double down, triple down on it.
Yeah, and whatever it is, could be just fishing at night or whatever.
Literally, see, this is the thing that it could be fishing, it could be cooking. 2 things I'm awful at, by the way.
I'm obsession with watching people set up their tents.
I love that as well.
They're Turkish.
Like silent ones.
Yes.
This is the point. Like, it could be absolutely anything. It's just what is your what is the thing, and then put your voice on it.
Yeah.
And then so many people would always say, listen, there are other people that make school videos, but they're not me. Same as like, they're not you, Caesar. They're not you, Bengu. Do you know what I mean? So it's like we can always bring a unique
Interesting.
perspective.
Yeah.
Listen, every kind of genre has been done for decades and decades and decades, way before social media. Doesn't mean you still can't do it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but what can you do that's a little bit different, a little bit unique?
Yeah, and it's about those winning inches. It sounds to me, Bengo, is like there's still quite a great need for forensics, for analytics, for creators, because I think it could really guide you. Like what you spoke about just now, those things could easily be picked up by some very simple analytics, right? Just looking internally at your channel, what's working, looking at your past, I don't know, cut of 20 videos. What is it about them that really, really resonated? I mean, what do you think? Do you think that the space also needs that education for creators that are kind of at their peak and they want to keep on growing?
Yeah, 100%, because that side of things, most creators will be good at making content. They like the creative side of things, whereas the business side of things, I'm just speaking for myself here, it can be a little bit like, oh my God, like this is a little bit complicated, or whatever it might be. So if there was something where, especially for myself anyway, that can be kept as simple as possible, that's great. So the analytics, working out what works, what doesn't. I mean, you do get the obvious metrics like views and comments and likes and stuff like that. But like Bengu said, there's a lot probably behind that if you actually really kind of did a deep dive in there. that actually I don't do enough of. I should personally do more of that, if I'm being totally honest. You just get so bogged down with, say, right, that's a video today. Oh, tomorrow. All right.
Yeah.
That one's gone. Now it's the next day, the next week, the next month. It's just continuous.
Of course. But I guess if you do lean a little bit more into tech, can you imagine coming into, your creative space and saying, well, over the last 2-3 weeks, these are your top 3 performing contents because you've had these 4 characters, because you've spoken about these, and now there's these other trends you could jump on.
100%.
I'm sure something like that
is
existing, right?
It's also like YouTube provides a lot of data and analytics, and there are some obvious stuff, obviously the audience retention, the watch time, etc. But then there are some, off the back of that data, there are some other insights that you don't necessarily have, but like companies or tools like ours, like we just like try to take that, also like put a benchmark on it as well. Okay, in this category, this is like working better, etc. Like similar to yours, like you do a benchmark of analysis, but as a creative person, you just like focus on the creative side. There is always a need, I think, to also double down on the analytics
100%.
side. Yeah,
and it's one thing, Bengu, that I do probably struggle with a little bit. I do get a bit like because you're writing scripts, you're filming, you're editing, you're putting wigs on, you're putting costumes on. That side of thing, though, I could do much better with.
Oh, brilliant. Well, we're going to start to wrap up, but it's not going to be a sudden wrap up. I think it'll be good just to recap on some of the things that we've learned from you and what we could share. And I think going back to how brands and agencies should approach you is, what should they expect from creators? I mean, what you talked about, the best way to engage with you. What about setting expectations? What are the sort of things that they should be wary of when they're engaging with a creator like you, Stevie?
I suppose there could be 2 options. So there'll be some creators that obviously have like an agency or management, so you might have to go through them first.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't have that. I have had in the past, had some really good ones, and they kind of handle that side of things for me. But in terms of me, if you dropped me an email, they're going to get a response that you got, as long as it's like addressed properly and I actually can see it's legit. I can only speak for myself. They know they're going to get whatever brief that they send. They know it's going to be done to the absolute best of my ability, whatever they want me to do. And what the best brands that I've worked with have been the ones, and the term I use is, who just give me the ball and let me run with it.
Yeah.
Because there are some, I remember speaking to someone in the industry and they were saying, obviously, sometimes the brands, the people who you're actually liaising with, Stevie, they've never made content. They don't really understand it. So, and that's fine. So they won't kind of get the jokes that you're saying that is going to be able to promote that product, but you're going to do it in your way. So they might not get it, but your audience will. Does that make sense? So,
yeah.
and that's what I think I said this earlier. It's what I've always tried to do, because I want the video to perform well obviously for myself, but for the brand. So I think in terms of expectations, though, as well, I think most brands should probably know this. It's going to be difficult for that ad video to do as well as a stereotypical normal video of said creator, but it can still do really well if done in a real way, and if you genuinely like that product, if you genuinely believe in that product. Some people will just sell everything, and listen, that's fine. I'm not judging.
We've seen those, haven't we?
I'm sure you guys will know better than me. However, if it comes across as authentic, Benga, you use the word authentic is the perfect word. You'll be okay. You'll be fine.
Okay, brilliant. Because what we are seeing now is that there's going to be a huge shift. I mean, this year, I believe, is probably going to be one of the best years for the creator economy. We've seen huge brands, double, triple, quadruple down on the budgets that they want to spend with, not just creators, but also, boosting, user-generated content. So we know that it's going to be a big year for this particular economy. Eyes on it, performance. I think brands are looking to get an amazing return. When we talk about earned media value, what you guys can bring is just so good.
I think it's like I said, it's a few years now where I've been working with brands, and I've always thought it's the way things were going to go, because everyone's on their phone, everyone's on social media, and I think, why would you not, when you can get a piece of a product or whatever it might be through a piece of content to potentially tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people like that? Why would you not? I mean, it's for me, it's kind of like, just a no-brainer.
It's a
And you get to
no-brainer.
work with a creator as well on a one-to-one basis. I just think it's a real chance, and I've had this where I've worked with really cool brands. We've got a really good relationship. I just think that's such a cool thing, and it just strips away the old school, old guard like media way of doing things and all the red tape and everything. I don't know. Maybe listen. I am probably being biased because I'm a creator. It's my field, but for me, I see what my generation's doing. I see Gen Z. I see Generation Alpha. It's all going one way.
It's all going one way, and we're seeing a lot of creator-led products and services. So it's mostly all just promoted with creators. And one of the things that you and I spoke about before was they now want this channel to always be on, just like they have search, just like they have their social, just like they have all the other acquisition channels, email and so forth. Do you think creators are ready to become a long-term ambassador to a brand? Do you think you could marry like a big confectionery brand and say, you know, we want you to be ambassador for the next 2-3 years?
Caesar, that would be, honestly, when I think of like you, as we've just mentioned for the last however long we've been on, there's been stuff that I've said for free just because I love that product. So imagine now you came together for a partnership. It's going to be genuine. Because it's like, I love that product, whatever that might be. So I will sell it for you.
So we have to be McFlurries, I guess. Wouldn't it?
It's
coming.
Make it happen, baby.
Yeah,
Come on, please.
it's coming
But
up.
it's like, for me, I mean, the joke is I've done in my videos, I've done the Milk Stevie, the Milk Gary, like it's a joke, but it's like, it's such an open goal. I would love that. And then it could turn into a long-term thing or even something more serious, guys. Obviously, there's products, like fun products like that. Or like I said, guys, since 2016 and actually before that, I've always been a very champion of the issues that young people go through. So there's no reason why you couldn't then be an ambassador of, okay, I can't actually think off the top of my head, but something to do with a mental health charity or a Prince's Trust or whatever it might be, because it's like, I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
So why not just power up, team up? It's just, for me, again, it's an open goal.
Yeah, of course.
I think it's a missed opportunity if they don't power. Because back in the day, 10, 15 years ago, when we were at YouTube, it was challenging to have creator content accepted by brands, or getting the advertising dollars. But now it's such a validated thing. And if I was a media brand or a media company, I would just find the creators that resonate with my audience and study them. If not, if I can't work with them, I study them to learn what's their strategy, and to incorporate them or to find a way to marry with them. As you said, it's not only validated, but I was mentioning to you that one of your fans is watching you on TV.
Yeah.
So you are now a TV celebrity. Yeah.
Spot on, Ben. I actually saw something the other day. I can't remember. I saw it now, and it showed the breakdown of what's the most watched channel in the UK. It was YouTube.
Yes.
YouTube, yeah.
Yes.
It said obviously like BBC and ITV underneath, but it was like YouTube. And then I think, Caesar, we were talking about it. It's like, actually, yeah, I do that. I go on my remote, I say YouTube, it goes to the YouTube channel. I watch podcasts, I watch football videos, and I like wrestling, so I watch wrestling videos as well. And it's like, that's good. So now imagine what Gen Z are doing. Imagine what Generation Alpha are going to be doing. It's the way. This is why I love stuff like this, because it's so lovely to speak to people like you two who get it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not just saying
Well,
that.
we're trying to anyway.
No, but it's lovely because, as you can imagine, when I started in 2016, you're just this young guy trying to make content. You haven't got a clue what you're doing, really. You're just trying to make funny content. And then when you meet people like yourselves, it's like, oh, yes, they get it. Fine. Because most of my friends, I love them to bits, but they're not going to understand this world. They're all like plumbers and electricians, very important people.
Very.
But I'm like,
AI is not going to take their job.
exactly. They're sorted, mate. Do you know what I mean? They're absolutely fine. They're all doing really well. But it's that sort of thing when you try and have conversations with them, they're not going to get it because it's not their world. Some of them, bless them, they try, and I'm like, look, just hold the phone, film this content for me. Don't worry about the other stuff.
Yeah.
But it's so lovely to speak to people who really get it because it's such a weird and wonderful space.
Yeah, no, it is. It has all its idiosyncrasies,
Exactly,
and I think you're a huge inspiration to many. And I hope that this goes out to people that are just on the brink of creating something really special like you have. And I hope they have that Lad Bible moment as well.
Well, it's one of those things where, I mean, listen, I was fortunate to have that, but it was still the work that I put in. That video, even it's my favourite video actually I've ever done. PE lessons video, because it was so universal. We spoke about it, whether you're in the UK or a different country around the world, we've all done PE or gym class, whatever it might be, and it just every time I've posted that video, sometimes I'll rehash it and I'll do it
Yes.
again. Always done well. So it's a really fun video to do. Yeah.
We'll look out for it.
Yes.
PE lessons.
So Benga, anything from Buzz My videos that the audience can take away with them?
This was very insightful. I think you've just validated what we always kind of vouch for, saying that, okay, you gotta nail your content strategy. You gotta find the right partner to kind of blow up your content. Shorts is an amazing way on YouTube to get that like top of the funnel, like get entry level, like to understand who your audience is, and then build from that. There are other revenue models on YouTube, and most importantly, you need to be consistent. Maybe also there are other ways to automate every little detail. I know it takes so much time, and that's where kind of tools like ours come in and help kind of either the creator or the media company to optimize everything at scale. So that's where we want to make sure that everybody understands that, because every little optimization or every little action counts at the end of the day, I think, on this platform. So that's my key takeaways. And I'm really, really happy that I met you, because it's been a while that I haven't sat down with a creator. So humble, so genuine, and so down to earth.
Bless you guys. No, honestly, it's like I said, I was so excited, Bengu, obviously, when Caesar was talking about it. I've never done a podcast before in my life, so this was really cool. And it is like
First of many, I think.
Oh, bless you, that's
Yes.
it. We're going to do our own one, do you know what I mean?
Oh,
yeah. But it is, and I think what's quite cool, listen, there will be people that got on TikTok in 2020 and they were like 16 years old, and all they know is content, or they got on YouTube back in the day, and you know, whatever. But because I had to, the route I kind of came when I was a state agent for a little bit, I was a cleaner, I was delivering pizzas just to pay the bills. So that's why I feel very lucky that for opportunities like this, the fact that people even watch my content, because there was a time, like I said, where it was really, this is hard, but it's a nice kind of difficult. Whereas back then, when you're, like I said, you know what you want to do, but you're having to do other things, stuff that you don't really want to do, but you've got to pay the rent. It's hard. I'm very appreciative. I mean, YouTube, Bengu, please, like, oh my God, what you've done for me the last year, what we now, June, so just over a year, I can't thank YouTube enough, genuinely. Like, it's changed. It sounds so cheesy. Changed my life, genuinely.
It did change my life as well.
That's awesome. I think, yeah, from my side, I mean, it's testimony. If you have the right technology, you can find absolute gems like Stevie. Reach out to them genuinely and just find a little bit more about why it is that your content resonates so well. So yes, everybody is welcome to come to High Porter and find out for yourselves. But above that, being absolutely amazing to have here on our live podcast, and we really do hope that this isn't the last time, and we bring in some of your peers. I think that's going to be.
You want the Gary wig? That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Yeah, no, it'd be awesome. Thank you very much.
Like I said,
Thank you so much.
What's so lovely is I get so bogged down with making content. It's just me, as we said, playing different characters. So when you can actually get outside, meet actual other people, it's always lovely. So no, thank you for having me.
Been a
Brilliant.
pleasure. Let's get that drink on.
Do it, mate. Let's do it. My pleasure. Thank you.
And you fixed the TV.
Where you know?
Oh, that's nice.
TV knows.
Oh.